Jai Hind everyone. Myself Amrita Tiwari, Assistant Professor, Ajay Kumar Garg, Engineering College. Today, my topic is on transport layer, which is the topic of computer networks. Let us see the contents. So, the contents in my PPT is Introduction to Transport Layer, Role of Transport Layer, the two protocols that are introduced in transport layer, that is User Datagram Protocol, that we call UDP, and Transmission Control Protocol, that is TCP. So let us see what is transport layer. So as we know, the transport layer comes in the middle of the OSI layer model. Above the transport layer is a session layer, presentation layer, and application layer, and below the transport layer is a network layer, data link layer, and a physical layer. As we know, data link layer is responsible for delivering of frames between the two neighboring nodes over a link, that is node to node or host to host delivery. Similarly, the network layer, which is responsible for delivering of datagrams between two hosts located in a different networks, that is host to host delivery. But the transport layer is a process to process delivery, or we can say a port to port delivery. Here the port is introduced. The transport layer communicate directly with the application layer. The application layer, what is application? The uppermost layer where the user can interact. So application layer, we have different types of application, different types of process that comes to the transport layer, and from that the port number is introduced by the operating system to the particular processes that comes from the above application layer, and then the transport layer transferred this to the next network layer. So let us see the roles of transport layer. What are the different types of roles of a transport layer? Firstly, it is the end-to-end delivery. End-to-end delivery, or we can say port-to-port delivery. If there is some network here and there is some network, if A wants to communicate with B, so this is a sender and this is a receiver. So A have its port number. Similarly, it also have a destination number, that is destination port number, to which he has to send a data. So this way they can communicate with each other. So it is, we can say it is a port to port or end to end delivery. Secondly, error control. Error control, as we know, we have error control comes in a data link layer. Data link layer is used for the error control and prevention, but there we use a CRC. But in here, in error control, we use the concept of checksums. Again, next role is congestion control. Congestion control means when there is so much flow of data comes from the application layer to the transport layer. So to manage that flow of data, because it is continuously coming from the application layer. So to manage that data, how the congestion, to prevent the congestion, they have some techniques. Then comes a segmentation layer. As we know, transport layer is a bit oriented, means the processes that comes from the application layer is converted into the bits, and these bits, there are number of continuous number of bits are coming. So what transport layer do? It divide this bits, stream of bits into a segments, and then further proceed to the network layer. Then comes a multiplexing and demultiplexing. Multiplexing means the transport layer, the segmentation or the processes that come from the application layer is converted into a segmentation. This segmented data is then go to network layer where IP address is connected. Then in data link layer, the frame header is connected. Then it goes to the physical medium. From the physical medium, the transport layer header with the data, it goes to network layer, where a IP header is connected. It is a sender side. Then it goes to a data link layer where the frame header is connected. Then it goes to the physical layer through a physical medium it goes back to the receiver end. Similarly, this process is known as multiplexing or encapsulation. Or similarly, in demultiplexing, the number of processes which are combined. What is multiplexing? Many to one. So many data, many segments that are converted are combined in one combined form and then sent to the physical medium, and then from the physical medium it again sent to the receiver end. Then from the receiver end, this combined data again go to their, when it comes to the application layer, it goes to the different processes destination, because the destinations are different for all the processes. So they go to their dedicated destination. This is the demultiplexing and multiplexing. Let us see the two protocols that are introduced in the transport layer. It is the most important protocols. Firstly is the user datagram protocol. So what is user datagram protocol? It is a connectionless, unreliable transport protocol. That means if the data is lost between the transferring of between the two mediums, if data is lost, it doesn't care about that. That means the unreliable. It is unreliable. If data is lost, it doesn't care about the lost data or duplicate data, or the data comes does not synchronize, but they are not in order. They doesn't care about that. So, but UDP is a very simple protocol using a minimum overhead. That's why we use it. It doesn't have a error control. It doesn't check the error control. It doesn't check the flow control. It doesn't check the congestion control. Then also we use because of the minimum overhead. If the process wants to send a small data, small message or data, doesn't care about much reliability, then in that case we use the UDP. Sending a small message by using a UDP, taking a less interaction between the sender and the receiver than the TCP or SCTP. So that's why we use the UDP. UDP have its own uses, because for the small data we can use them where the interaction between the sender and receiver is minimum. Let us see the header of the UDP. So header of the UDP is known as user datagram. So what it includes? The header is of the 8 bytes. As you know, transport layer is a byte oriented. So header is of 8 byte. So if we further expand the header file of the UDP, what it contains? It contains the port number, that is of 16-bit source port number, 16-bit destination port number, total length of 16-bit and checksum of 16-bit. So what is the 16-bit port number? 16-bit port means 2 raised to power 16, that is 0 to 65,535 port are there according to IANA. According to IANA, there are 0 to, the range is from 0 to 65,535. In that 0 to 1023 are the registered, or we can say registered, dedicated are the port numbers that we cannot use. So this range is 0 to 65,534 are the port numbers that we use for the source as well as for the destination. Similarly, the total length means the header 8 bytes plus the data. The total length is of 16 bytes. Again, the checksum. Checksum is of 16 byte. Whenever we send the segments, the checksum is added to it to check if there is any error or not. But as you know, TCP is unreliable. As I have told you earlier, it is unreliable. It doesn't check the flow control, doesn't check the congestion control. So the checksum field is an optional in a UDP. We can check or not. If we are not checking any checksum, we are not applying the checksum, it is okay because it is optional. So this is the concept of UDP headers. Let us see the TCP. So first of all, let us see the application where we can use the uses of where we can use the UDP protocol. Firstly, it is used for simple request and response communication. Request and response communication. That means one request, one reply. One request, one reply. That we use in DNS, domain name system. So UDP is suitable for the process that requires a simple request or response communication, that is one request and one reply, with a little concern of flow and error control. It is not usually for the process such as FTP. FTP means file transfer protocol that needs a bulk data. So for the small communication where there is simple request and response, we can use the UDP. Secondly, UDP is suitable with the internal flow and error control mechanism like trivial file transfer protocol that provides a flow or error control. It can easily used in a UDP. Next is it can be used in a multicasting or broadcasting. Multicasting or broadcasting. UDP is very suitable for that. Again, UDP is managed process like SNMP. Lastly, UDP is used for some route updating protocols also. That routing protocol we will be discussing in the network layer when we will study that. So routing information protocol, RIP. There are three types of routing protocol. One of them is routing information protocol. So these are the categories where we can use the UDP protocol. Next, then comes a TCP, Transmission Control Protocol. So this is the most important protocol like a UDP, but there is some differences between the UDP and a TCP. What are its differences? TCP is a process-to-process protocol. It uses the port number like UDP also. Same, but the difference come here that it is a connection oriented protocol. It virtually connects between the sender and receiver. It can be used for the large data send, for the large bulk of data we want to send. There we use a TCP. Secondly, it is a reliable. Most important is it is reliable protocol. That means if data is lost or there is some duplication in the data, it can be easily detected and it can be easily corrected also. Lastly, it uses error and flow control mechanism at the transport layer. So, as a whole we can say TCP is a connection oriented reliable transport protocol. It adds connection oriented and reliable features to the services of the IP, Internet Protocol. So this is the overall introduction of the TCP. Let us see the header file of the TCP. So this is the header file of the TCP. It is very important because the questions come from this. So the TCP header is 20 to 65. The minimum range is of 20 and maximum it can be of 60 bytes, and it is a byte oriented. Secondly, if we further expand the header file, what are the content, what are the fields? Same as UDP also contain this source port address that is of 16-bit and destination port address that is of 16-bit. I have told you earlier 16-bit means 2 raised to power 16, that it ranges from 0 to 65,535 port numbers. So source port and destination both have their particular port number so that they can have a communication with each other. Then comes a sequence number that is of 32 bits. What is sequence number? So it is an important field of the TCP. As we know, Transport layer divides the data bytes into a segments. I have told you earlier that the data comes regularly from the application layer to the transport layer. Number of bits continuously coming. So what transport layer do? It divided into the segments, and each segment have the particular number of bytes. Let's suppose there is like this. This is segment 2, this is segment 1. So what is sequence number? It is a random number. It is a random number that is given to the every bytes of the data. That is, let's suppose we have given this 6,000. Then we give this to 6,001, 6,002, 6,003, 6,004, 6,005. Similarly, this random number it is a random number. 9,000, let's suppose 9,001, 9,002, 9,003. The starting bit. So it can be start from the random sequence number from 6,000, 8,000, 9,000, but it should be in a sequence. It should be in a sequence. It is not like that. If it is 6,000, then it comes there a 7,000. No. If it is a 6,000, then it comes a 6,001, 6,002 up to the last byte. So this is a random sequence number which is given to the bytes in a segment. What is acknowledgement number? Acknowledgement number means 32 bits. This means when a particular destination or a receiver or client or server, we can say, receive that this particular segment. Let's suppose this segment is received. So in return, what it will be given? Acknowledgement number. So acknowledgement number start from the sequence where the sequence number end +1. That means if the sequence number end from 16,005, the acknowledgement number for this will be 16,000 plus 1, that is 16,006. Similarly for this, if it is end in 9,003, so 9,003 plus 1, that is 9,004 will be the acknowledgement number for this particular segment, and this particular segment will be 6,006. So plus 1 is added. Next come H length. H length means a header length. It is of 4 bits. 4 bits mean 1, 0, 1, 0, 0. This is a 4 if we convert this into binary number, but header length means the header plus data. So if we multiply, and the header length is always in a scale of 4. If we multiply with this in a 16 bit, it is not up to the mark. As we know, the minimum length should be of 20 bytes of the header, but here if we taking the 4 bytes, 4 into 4 is 16. So it is not a minimum header. So from where we have to start? From the 5. 5 into 4, it is 20. So the range is start from the 4 bits. Then there comes a reserve bit, that is 6 bits. It is preserved for the future use. If we want to have some emergency data we want to send, so there we can use the 6 bits. Then there comes a number of flags in the TCP. These are the number of flags we use in the TCP. Firstly is urgent. URG, urgent, means if we want to send a data in urgent, if we want to because the data is accumulated in a buffer and it is sent in a in sequence. So but if we want data in urgent, so we will be on this urgent status into 1. The flag will be 1 if we want to send the data. Then comes an acknowledgement flag. Acknowledgement flag, if the acknowledgement is sending, that is acknowledgement number. This is different and this is different. It is a notification and this is the actual segment which we are sending. So if the acknowledgement is being sent, the acknowledgement status will be 1. Then there comes a push. Push means if we want to push the data from the buffer to the sender or the process, dedicated process wants. Then comes a reset. We want to reset the data or process. Then comes a synchronization. Synchronization means if we want to have established, we want to establish a connection between the sender or receiver, we should have a synchronization between both. So for that we use a synchronization, sync bit. Then comes a finish. Finish means if we want to terminate the connection, so we use the finish. Then there comes a window size. Window size. This means the capacity of the particular sender or a receiver. It can number of data or a number of byte it can have in it. That means its window size means its capacity to hold that data, how much it can hold a data. Then there comes a checksum. For every segment, after sending every segment, we will put a checksum to check the error. With this segment, one checksum will be added. With this segment, one checksum will be added and send it to the receiver. Again, the receiver will also add its checksum with it and calculate again. If the number vary, if both the sender and the receiver data have a vary in their bytes, that means there is some error. That's how we check the error. So that's why the checksum bit is used, that is of 16 bit. Then comes an urgent pointer. Urgent pointer same means if we want to send the urgent data, then the notification becomes 1 and the urgent pointer becomes will be started. Urgent pointer means if suppose this segment is if you want to send this from this segment, the segment pointer is like this. If you want to send this urgent data, only this part, not last 2 digit, no last 2 bytes. So the urgent pointer will point to this point. So that means we want to send this up to here, the urgent data. Then comes an options and padding. Options and padding means that comes there, that is used for the HLAN, because as we know, if we calculate with the 4 into 4, if we are doing, it is of 16 bit, that is less than of the minimum. Minimum should be 20 bit. So for adding some padding this 16 bit, so to make it up to the 20 bit, we use options and padding. So these are the different fields of the TCP segments. It is very important. You should learn the particular how much bit every field contain. Like source address should be of 16 bit, destination of should be 16 bit, sequence number should be 32 bits, acknowledgement should be 32 bits, because the question comes from this. So this is all for today, the TCP segment. We should understand the difference between the TCP and UDP. UDP is a connectionless, unreliable, no flow control, no error control, no congestion control. Whereas if we use the TCP is a connectionful, reliable and can control a error, can control a flow, can control a congestion. So these are the difference between the TCP and the UDP. UDP can be used for the smaller data communication where the sender and receiver have less interaction, whereas TCP can be used for the larger process. So that's why they both have their own advantages and disadvantages. That's all for today. Thank you.